Okay, let's call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Weir,
Here.
Passanello.
Here.
Hader.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Schneider.
Here.
Ramirez.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
All right, we'll start with the pledges of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we got the invocation. We have Dr. Ruth Ann Sawyer from the Prince William County Police Chaplain, or from, as the chaplain. Welcome back.
From Haymarket Baptist Church as well.
As,
For
yeah.
many years, that's where I'm familiar. Let's pray together. Almighty God, Allah, Spirit of nature, Spirit of love, Spirit of life, Spirit of community, Spirit of justice. No matter how we come before you tonight, in whatever avenue we choose, we come before you now for your peace and your provision and your comfort, to provide us with the answers for the questions that we will ask tonight and the decisions that will be brought forth after. Father, we ask your blessing upon this council, our mayor, our staff. Father, we especially ask for our police department, those that keep us safe and are in the line of duty and danger every single second of the day. Father, on this 78th anniversary of D-Day, we give thanks for our military, for those that gave their life and continue to do so for us as strangers. Father God, and direct us and lead us in this next hour or hours as we come together as a community. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Thank you. That was wonderful. I'm assuming I'll see you Saturday, right? Until then, you have a good week. Okay, we'll move on. We got the community spotlight. We have Sarah Timball with the boxes for basics, of basics.
Good job. Good evening. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So thanks again for having me. My name is Sarah Tyndall. I am a resident of not the town of Haymarket, but I live in Dominion Valley. I have two little boys that go to Albee. They're 6 and 9, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to help a mom who had left a bad situation. She had 4 kids, and she needed clothing for her children. And I reached out to friends and neighbors, and before I knew it, I had enough clothes to fill my SUV twice. And I thought, you know, there's probably some other people out there that could use clothes for their kids. And the clothes that we collected were so nice. I was inclined to keep some of them, but I didn't. And I thought I could probably do this. So the idea for Boxes of Basics was born. Come on. So what is Boxes of Basics and what do we do? It's pretty simple. I collect quality, new, and gently used clothing, size newborn to 12-16 youth, from all over the community. We primarily collect through clothing drives. I don't have a warehouse or somewhere big enough right now to have a drop-off site, but that's how we get our clothes. We have pretty amazing volunteers that come to our location. They sort the clothes. They pack what we call a box of basics. It contains an entire seasonal wardrobe for a local child in need. We'll talk more about the box in the next slide. And then we distribute them out all over Prince William County. So we work with school social workers, nonprofits, churches who refer these children to us. So what's in the box? That's my old logo in the back of my little son's head. We really take a lot of care in what we put in these boxes. My rule is if I wouldn't put my own kid in these clothes, I'm not going to put another kid in them. So we pick out 5 school outfits, 2 to 3 play outfits, a few pairs of pajamas, what we call a Sunday best outfit. So if it's church or school picture day, they have something a little nicer to wear. We do new socks and new underwear because used would be gross. We definitely put a nice pair of shoes in there, an age-appropriate book, and a dental kit. So everything a child needs for the season. In addition, we wrap and we label each outfit. So when that child gets to open that box, they get to open up 15 to 20 little gifts that are wrapped just for them. And it really kind of puts a special touch on every box of basics. I started in my basement. We'll go back. I started in my basement in Dominion Valley. I asked my husband, I said, I just need a little part of our basement. I have this idea.
I've heard that before.
Right? And he, being the nice guy he was, said, okay. Fast forward 2 years after that, we had 115 volunteers walk through my front door. And Stephen would come home from work, and we would all be working in the basement. The kids would be running around, and the entire basement looked like a hoarder's thrift store. It was awful. But he was really nice, and we just finished our basement, and I let him put as many TVs down there as he wanted, so he was super excited. He paid his dues. About a year and a half ago, we have been, I don't want to say gifted, but we've been gifted use of a house in Old Town Manassas. So it's right off of West Street. It's kind of near the pavilion, and a church is letting us use it rent-free, which has been an amazing experience. So everything got out of my basement, and we've moved over there. But primarily, most of our volunteers and most of our clothes still come from Haymarket. So who are the children that we help? When I started this, I didn't want the job of deciding who was worthy of clothes. Plus, it was in my house, so I didn't want to work directly with families. The rule was we'll help any child in Prince William who's referred to us by a third party. I would say 95% of the kids that we help come directly through school social workers. We've delivered to over 30 schools, mostly elementary schools and the Head Start preschools all over Prince William County. A lot of people, when I talk to them, assume that most of the kids come from the eastern end of the county, but you would be shocked and surprised, or maybe you wouldn't, on how many boxes we deliver on this side of the county. So this is just kind of a few examples of the children that we help. Now, you guys look like a rowdy bunch. Are you rowdy? Yes. This is the audience participation portion of my speech. So I'm going to read you just a few requests that we have received, and I tried to pick ones that were from this area in the western side of the county. I'm going to read you their requests, and I'm going to ask if you can help them, and I'd like you to say, yes, we can. Can you guys do that for me? I'll wake you up on a Monday night.
I'm not good at yes.
You didn't know you'd have to participate. Okay, so Sarah, I'm requesting a box for a student who has been in transitional housing for 3 years. Finances are difficult. She recently told me she was having embarrassment at school because her peers have noticed she only has 2 pairs of pants and cannot afford to buy more. Can you help her?
Yes, we
Can.
There we go. Louder. Sarah, I'm requesting clothing for 4 children. Family was previously homeless. Mother recently passed away, and the father is in jail. The children are staying with their grandparents, and all they came with were the clothes on their backs. Can you help these kids?
Yes, we can.
This was from an elementary school in Haymarket. I'm requesting a box of basics for a boy age 8. He was wearing baby socks today and getting blisters from his shoes, which were too small. So rushing it would be amazing if you could accommodate that. Will you help this boy?
Yes, we can.
There we go. See?
There's got to be a punchline here
There
somewhere.
really isn't. I think the idea is that we help a variety of children facing a variety of challenges. When I designed boxes of basics, I didn't want to just say, we'll only help this category or this category of children. I mean, we help families, and it's a single parent, they're working hard, it's just a struggle sometimes. Maybe 2 parents are working, it's still a struggle. So you don't have to check 8 boxes to get a box of basics. You just need to just need a little bit of help, and we do that. So our impact, since we started, we've provided boxes of basics to over 1,300 children in Prince William County, which is pretty amazing. We've survived the pandemic, which we kind of shut down since it was in my basement during that time. And so that number, every time I look at it, it's unbelievable to me, especially from where we started. We've engaged 120 plus volunteers. We do a lot of group volunteers that come in, they sort. That's my little house, my Boxes of Basics house right there. And like I mentioned, we've delivered to over 30 organizations in Prince William County and schools. Actually, Wednesday, we partnered with Haymarket Food Pantry, and we have 108 Boxes of Basics ready for some of their clients. And we pack summer clothes for a lot of the kids, so we'll be delivering those this Wednesday. This is just a really bad slide, but our impact. We are making a difference, and when you start an organization like this, I think about it often. Why am I doing this, right? Why did I turn my basement upside down? Why do I spend all this time? But the stories we hear from these kids and their social workers, it's pretty amazing. So I wanted to just share one of those with you. We remember the boy with the shoes that were too small. So his social worker said, I have to share that the box you dropped off yesterday had the child jumping for joy and happiness. The shoes fit perfectly, and you could see the relief and happiness on his face as he ran around in them. It made my day. The clothing was perfect, too, and he brought it home with a giant smile. One more. This is my favorite. I received a phone call from a parent that got a box of basics. She shared her son was not feeling confident about coming to school prior to receiving his box because his clothes were worn and small. Today, that child woke up 30 minutes early just to pick out his outfit. I had a chance to stop by and see him this afternoon, and he was so excited to show me his new shoes. I can't say thank you enough for all you do. The children are not just receiving clothing, but love and confidence. So that kind of keeps me going. So we're growing. It's crazy. I have a staff person now, our first staff person. I'm not paying myself yet. My husband's not happy about that, but I'm paying her, so that's exciting. She started in March, but growth is needs for funding, clothing, volunteers, and of course more space. So we have a few, I think you mentioned I could talk about needs. We have 3 basic needs that we're working towards right now. We're looking for Boxes of Basics ambassadors, just people that are willing to kind of be our voice in the community. We serve all of Prince William County, so I have a neighbor in Dominion Valley, and anytime I need something, she kind of blasts it out on the Facebook page, or she'll do some collections for me. And so we're looking to replicate that in different neighborhoods, communities, and different organizations all over Prince William County. Maybe you're involved in a church, and you'd like to be an ambassador for Boxes of Basics to your church. So that's something that we are kind of starting to work on putting together, and we're hopefully going to have lots of ambassadors ready for when the next school year hits in September. We're always looking for money. I take Pirate Gold. I'm just kidding.
Take Bitcoin right now.
I don't know. I'll take anything. But anyways, we do have sponsorship packages. We're always looking for funding. And so I think, when you run a nonprofit, that's a given. And we're looking for drop-off locations. Like I mentioned, my house in Manassas, it's already packed to the gills. I have used bathtub space in that house. So instead of having people deliver clothing to us, we're looking for drop-off locations. And I think Haymarket, the town council did this a couple years ago when we just started. You allowed us to use this as a drop-off location for about a month. So we're looking for people to be permanent drop-off locations, or maybe like a 3-month time period where you would allow clothing to kind of be dropped off so we could come and collect it. It helps me manage what's coming in and what's going out. If I let people drop off in Manassas, I would have way too much to handle. So I kind of have to keep the balance there. So that's our 3rd need. So for 1,300 children, we've given them the gift of clothing. We've lessened the burden on their families by providing them with some basic necessities. I like to kind of close with saying the gift of clothing is the gift of warmth on a cold day. It's the gift of self-confidence and worth. But the most important thing is we're showing these kids that they matter, that they are important, and they are loved. So what I do is simple. I give clothes to the kids who need it the most. And thank you for your time. Again, I'm Sarah Tyndall with Boxes of Basics. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any questions, or do you do that? I don't know.
I do have a question. Thank you so much for being here. How would one go about looking to volunteer? How would they get in touch with you?
Sure. I'll leave my cards, but we have a Facebook page. Follow us on Facebook. And our website, boxesofbasics.org, we have a volunteer page. You can fill out an application. We have different shifts. We primarily operate during the school year. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so summers to kind of hang with my kids. So our shifts are ending at the end of June, and then we'll start back up late August for volunteer shifts to come in and pack boxes. We also allow youth volunteers. So if you have like a little one, really 10 and up, and you want to come in and pack a box with them. I brought my kids in to kind of show them, hey, there's kids your age that are in need. It makes a big impact on a young person.
The high schools have a community service requirement now.
And then the same for the ambassadors that are needed?
I don't have a sign up for that yet, but just email me.
Okay.
That's hot off the presses. Thank you. I'll leave maybe a few cards.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll open up the public hearing for the fiscal year 2023 budget. If I could get the public notice read into record.
Notice is hereby given that the mayor and council of the town of Haymarket will hold a public hearing on Monday, June 6, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the Haymarket Town Hall located at 15000 Washington Street, Suite 100, Haymarket, Virginia, on the town of Haymarket's proposed budget for fiscal year 2022-2023, July 1 of 2022 to June 30 of 2023, in the amount of $2,961,093 pursuant to Virginia Code Section 15.2-2506. The following is a synopsis of the proposed budget. Below is the projected revenues and the projected expenditures, which balance. The budget is available at the town's website and for review at the town hall located at 15,000 Washington Street between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, with a phone number of 703-753-2600. All meetings are open to the public. Handicap accommodations are available. The hearing will be open to the public, and the town council will permit all citizens of the town the right to attend and state their views thereof.
Okay. And I guess for transparency, did we have two numbers that were transposed that I guess we should make note for record?
Good evening, Mayor. That is correct. The fines and forfeitures number with the town of... Pause, let me look at that. The fines and forfeitures and the permits, fees, and licenses were transposed. It should actually be fines and forfeitures 20,000 and permits and licenses for 20,500.
Okay. So this is time for citizens' comments. Jim, I got you up here for the town meeting. Do you have anything for the citizens of this? Okay. Any email?
No, sir.
Anybody else in the audience? Okay, then we'll close the public hearing. Okay, I guess we're okay to move on then?
Yeah, when you open, okay, yes, go ahead and have citizens comment.
Okay. Now we're up to citizens' time for the regular meeting. Jim, I have you. Welcome aboard.
Short, since you guys have a long meeting ahead of you, looks like. Jim Payne. My address is on file. Everybody kind of knows who I am. I'm here just to speak about the DMV Select for a little bit. I know you guys are voting on this tonight, and I was at the last week's planning session, and I feel that it's good that you are voting on it since you guys did vote to get the ball rolling, and I feel that, you know, you should make a definitive vote as to what happens with it. I will say I 100% agree with what Councilman Weir had to say. The red flags and whatnot that were raised, and I realized about a month ago I got up here and I had a lot to say about the DMV Select, and some maybe hadn't been to past meetings and didn't know exactly what I was speaking of. I think from last week they probably learned what I was speaking of. And I know that you're looking at DMV Select with a little bit more discerning eye right now, which is good. I just wonder why there was really no oversight, why it took so long. I know Chris and Kim kind of ran with it, but this was a new venture, whereas you're a kind of a service center, so to speak. I mean, you collect tax money, you decide where it goes, fund different projects, move the ball forward for the town, but now you're trying to move towards a revenue model. You were trying to get revenue for the town, and obviously any business owner would be all for that. To collect money besides taxes and BPOL would definitely be an advantageous thing for any business person. So I'm not sure why there wasn't more oversight on that, and I don't know why. I know the contract that they had with DMV Select seemed like you had to do a lot. You had to, you had to get a place ready for it. You had to provide the computer. You had to provide the ADA, other miscellaneous things. And I don't really know what they had to provide, and they were getting 95% of the take. So I don't know what skin in the game they had, why that wasn't in black and white, or if it was in black and white, why wasn't it enforced? I'm not sure. Since what you were embarking on was a short-term licensee agreement, pretty much, since you're kind of using their name and doing and getting a bit of revenue. So I'm not sure why, took down to close to a year for them to ask, okay, will you provide this? I was in all the meetings prior that they had promised you're going to be a busy office and we won't let you fail, but I guess that was never put into black and white. And I'm very glad that Roberta said it didn't make any effect, but besides surplus, I guess it came out of surplus, and it's great that it had no effect, didn't cause any problems with projects or anything that the town was doing, and that's great. So I just will say that I'm glad you guys are looking at it now. And I did hear a number, it was 5 years that Remington took to break even. I know when Steve Shannon was up there, he had asked for that. I never heard that, and I believe somebody did some back-of-the-napkin math and said it would take 11 years for this to make money if all variables stayed equal, which we know they're not, because the cost of employees has gone exponentially up and probably will continue to be. So I don't think the town wants an 11-year experiment with their tax dollars. I remember Councilman Weir saying that he was for it, but he didn't want the town to have to basically supplement a 10-year-long project. And this was a while ago, and just so happens to be, Passanello said it was 11 years, and I trust his math. I'm sure he probably was correct. So anyway, I just wanted to say that, and thanks for listening, and I hope you guys have a nice night.
Thanks for your feedback, Jim. Anyone else in the audience? Any emails? Okay. Then we'll move on to the next item. We got the consent agendas. Are there any items that people want to pull off?
I do have a quick comment about Architectural Review Board. I would like to pull that off quickly.
The ARB?
Correct.
Could we also pull the police department or police chief report, please?
Okay. Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, the town administration report, please.
So we've got 3 on this list. Anybody else? Okay. That's B1, B2, and C5 for your record, because I'm assuming somebody's going to give me a motion, right?
Mayor, I move adoption of items 8A 1 through 3, B 3 through 6, and C 1 through 4.
I'll second.
Okay, you got a motion and second. Last chance for any type of discussion. We'll put it up for a vote. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay. So in that case, we'll open up the town administration report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Miss Emily, just a quick clarification on the playground shade structure. Is there, after what happened today, is there any other inspections that has to follow that?
We're still working with the building department. I've actually been in discussions with Mr. Weir on contacting a different official at the building department to try to get some assistance with working through the comments that they had outstanding. So it is still in the works. We're having issues getting our permit accepted for review and inspection.
Do we have proper documentation of when we've submitted it to the county?
Yes, we do. At this point, if we can't get much further, I would say in the next couple weeks, we would probably need to go back to the company or hire a civil engineer to make the changes that are recommended by the building department so that we can get in for review.
Okay.
So what stage are we at? Are we at actual inspection, or
Yes, sir.
are we just at
We got reviewed.
engineering review?
They're currently reviewing it, and they've come back with several issues with the documents that were submitted, but these were the documents that were given to us by the contractor who installed the shade. And we've reached out to them once before, and they said that they don't make modifications. These are accepted all the time, and they don't understand why we're having these comments come back. So we're trying to work with the county to see if we can get some assistance.
When was the last contact with the county?
That I'll have to look up through the e-portal system to get the exact date.
Give or take, within the last 2 weeks.
Mid-May timeframe.
If you can get with me tomorrow morning, I have to go to McCourt tomorrow anyway.
Okay.
So I can drop in and see Wade. You desire?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. M. CTSI audio visual. I think this is to the mayor. What's the status of that, sir?
We're dealing with supply chain issues. Cisco seems to be a long lead item, and we're still waiting for Cisco and another audio amp to come in. There's no projected time for Cisco for the audio amp. Do you have that at your fingertips, Emily, or I have that in email, but do you have that at your fingertips?
I do not. I can pull up the email on the time frame.
Yeah, I think that's scheduled for August, just to give you some type of idea of how far off that is. Until all the equipment comes in, of course, it's not going to be installed, so we're just kind of sitting here idle.
So we've already awarded them the contract,
Yes,
and they've already ordered the material.
yes.
Yes, just 2 items. The one, as Mayor mentioned, there's a switch by Cisco with no shipping information, and the other item is estimated 8/22, and I believe that was bumped out from July. But everything else, the other roughly 33 items are received and just in.
And do we know if any of these items can be installed now and used, or if they have a substitute that could be used in the interim while we wait? I mean, what happened last week, Monday's meeting, I don't know if this new product will help to alleviate the issue of being able to broadcast our meetings and have better sound. It seems like we should be further ahead with technology.
The new equipment could potentially mitigate that. What we had happen last week was kind of a combination of multiple things with our Zoom and how we're running it through our speakers. but we can certainly reach out to them and see if we can start installation of everything else.
Are you the point of contact, Mr. Mayor?
I kind of rolled that over to the town manager once the contract was signed.
I just know that there are times with long lead items, you can actually have subcontractors reach out, they can come and start installing for us to start using it. I don't know if that's something that they would entertain, because they like to mobilize once. But it seemed like something that, when did we place the order? 2 months ago, at least?
Or like 6 months ago.
Okay.
Say like January.
So that actually supports my point of view.
Yeah.
Well, my only concern with, I'm sorry,
No,
with
please.
doing that is, when would our like warranty start? Would that start with that installation or when all the pieces are installed? And I think we also had a limited time where they would come and teach us things and like come back and fix anything that's broken. So like when would that start and end? And I would hate for us to lose time because all the pieces weren't there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So that's the only concern I'd have with that, but I get what you're saying. Waiting's hard.
You got a comment, Vice Mayor?
Well, technology doubles every 18 months. So if we are at 6-month break right now, when we get this equipment, it's already old. So is there a warranty or a plan in place for them to change out this item that will be 9 months old? I just want us to think outside the box because it's unique. It's not unique to where we are as a country with long lead items, but it is a unique situation where you get products 8-9 months after you've ordered it. And we've struggled with old equipment, and we've done the proper research. We're doing good with what we've ordered. We just need to think outside the box to see how to approach it, instead of just sitting and waiting for them to change dates on us.
Yeah, well, I guess, I can give Bob Garrison a call and try and see what kind of pressure I can put on him to prioritizing us as opposed to any other contract he has.
I would never think that the word pressure and Ken would be in the same sentence, but go ahead, sir.
We can certainly send an email out and to the list that they send out and a monthly update. So we can go ahead and send that out and see what can happen. We'll go from there.
Thank you. Concerning the hotel zoning release, is that finished with?
We just received the final comments back today from the town engineer. It's been conditionally approved as of today. We need to receive from them a signed copy of their stormwater management agreement. And then
is
they're
there a
asked.
time frame when we had to get them back the comments and then for them to provide?
Yes, so we
Okay.
have 45 days to get them comments back. So when they submit a plan, we have 45 days to review it and return those comments.
Okay.
And so we were working within that time frame that we have per state statute.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Emily.
Okay, anybody else for the town administration report? Okay.
That's closed session.
We'll move on to the police chief report.
Thank you, Mayor. I just saw something in the events, and I was looking at the June events, Chief, and I was hoping that maybe you could highlight some of the upcoming events, especially this bike safety camp, since we will probably not be meeting or having council before then.
Okay. Yes, we are a partner with a local church here to do a bike safety event at their church. We're trying to get everything nailed down on it. We have the date set. We just need to get the times and everything arranged with that. So we're going to have a little bike safety program with them.
Awesome. Thank you. And that's really all I
You
wanted
want
to
to talk
highlight.
about the fight?
Well, yes. So, on June 15th, we look forward to seeing you at Long Street
Yes,
for the
we-
water balloon fight in Council 2. You're all invited, and
Just
I'm applying
highlight the word fight.
the peer pressure.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to deploy shields for our portion of it.
You're going to need them, those
What's your
kids.
return
What's the
those?
timeframe?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so the dismissal's at 12:30, so the kids should arrive about like 1 o'clock from the bus,
Okay.
so.
Excellent. We'll be well prepared,
Yes.
in our defensive position.
Awesome,
So, then afterwards, we're planning an ice cream social at the park.
awesome. And what time is the ice cream social?
Well, I was discussing it with the town manager today, but with that new time frame, I'm thinking 3 o'clock would probably be beneficial.
Okay.
Swirly's is assisting us with that.
Yay.
And since you're on the topic of events, I will highlight, I've left a copy of this flyer on everybody's desk. So please come out and support on July the 12th, our blood drive, which will be right across the street in the
Awesome.
conference center at the Hilton Garden Inn Haymarket. Donate a pint or two.
Goodness.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else have any questions for the police report?
Chief, the Dragoon's vehicle, that all squared away. I was glad to hear he's okay. He had his,
Yes, everything is fine with that. We went back and forth between the adjuster and the insurance company to get some finalization on some prices, but that's all go, and we have filed claim with the suspect's insurance as well to try to
You did
recoup
track
it.
his insurance down?
Yes, Sergeant Davis was able to track his insurance down, so we have filed claim with that agency as well to try to get Versa reimbursed. But obviously, our repairs are moving forward. Except for that little hiccup, we're good shape. It's being repaired as we speak.
I did talk to Officer Dragoon. I wanted to say thank you for giving him the leadership climate that he felt like he could take that risk in the interest of public safety and be able to stop that individual from moving on. So
Exactly.
I was glad to hear he felt he could.
He felt very
Take it on.
confident in his actions, and we felt confidence in his actions as well. He did textbook procedure.
Good. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Okay. Next report, Architectural Review Board.
I simply wanted to acknowledge the service of Sheridan King, who's our current chairman, and also Rochelle Utz, one of our ARB members. It's certainly in this area with all the obligations and competing for our time. It's great to have some folks step in and commit to that, and they've done very well. And then give a pitch for recruitment. I'm happy to see a lot of the new homes that are coming in, and hopefully we'll get a new crop of people that are energized and ready to participate. But if those listening at home and then folks on the dais and off the dais, any opportunity you have to talk to people about ways to serve, we'd certainly love to have them on the ARB. Planning Commission's looking for folks as well. We'll train you, we'll pay you. It's a nominal stipend. But it is interesting work.
Workers get better pay.
But so this is a shameless plug for ARB recruitment. But again, thank you for the service of Sheridan King as chairman and Rochelle Utz's service the last 2 years. Thanks.
Any questions for Marshawn?
No, but I do have something that's been brought to my attention. We didn't put up the budget presentation with the public hearing, but since it's incorporated by reference in the notice, we don't have to go. Cool.
Yep, since we have no citizens, I guess.
I think everybody here's seen it more times than they care to think about.
Yep. Okay. So we'll close out that item and we'll move on to the agenda items. First on the list is the DMV Select contract. Anybody want to start that discussion?
I can kick it off rather than rehashing the whole past, other than to say, in my mind, we took a risk. We understood the parameters going in. We understood that at the end of that period, it may not have a return on investment that was appropriate, and other conditions changed. So while I can appreciate the feedback on the program, I felt we were within the limits of what an acceptable risk that we knew going into it. So I don't see it as a failure. I just see it as we looked in giving an additional public service to the town. I was excited about the multiplier effect where folks that were coming in to do DMV may stop somewhere else in town, buy gas, buy lunch, some other service, and that we would see some additional revenue, indirect revenue from that service. But the fact that it hasn't planned, in my mind, hasn't planned out as we anticipated, I don't think it's a failure. I just think we're being prudent. The year was appropriate. I don't think a lesser time would have been appropriate either. It was appropriate to wait out the year contract that was done. So, and there's no slight to Kim or staff or anybody else, but at this point, I'm in the position that we need to go ahead and make the decision and let it go. So that's where I'm at right now.
If I can just add to that, sir, I disagree with the comment that there was no oversight. I personally, and this is my opinion, I think there was sufficient oversight. I think Ms. Kim in particular took it under her wings and she sold it to the council. We did our research and we supported it. As one of the voting members on the council that voted for it, I can say we did a good job in vetting it. Actually, there were seasons when I thought we were vetting it too much, but I'm glad we did. I mean, you know, across the other aisle, they came back with a lot of questions, and I'm glad they came back with questions because it caused us to think. But we were bound by a contract, and I think we did good. We gave it a good run. I think it was prudent on our part to see it through, and there was a part of me that wished we would continue watching it go, but I agreed with the citizen that came up and shared that we do need to vote on it, and that was our comments last month. We do need to put it on the agenda and vote on it the same way how we voted for it a year ago. Thank you, sir.
Go ahead. Ladies first.
I will wait patiently.
Vice Mayor's first.
Vice Mayor.
So I will say that I absolutely believe in this program, and we have given it a year. I don't know that we gave it everything that we could have in order to have seen it succeed in what I know it could be. With any business, a year is an evaluation point, not necessarily a cut it out point. So I think that it would need to have additional support in staffing. It would need additional support in marketing. I understand that that takes money and support in those areas, but I do think that it could be successful. Not necessarily within a 12-month period, but maybe within a 24 to 36-month period.
Fair.
I think everybody knows where I stand on the issue. I mean, I think I've been pretty clear on it. Like Mr. Morris, I am going to take issue with the oversight comment, however. We're having this very No, I know. I'm not accusing you. In fact, we're having this very discussion tonight as a result of that oversight. It was a weekly oversight, always reviewing the numbers. And when combined with the fact that we were locked into a one-year contract with limited exit ramps, we took our best shot. I just don't see a path in the near future to where we can make it a viable service to continue offering, given the costs and the ancillary impacts.
Anybody else with comments?
The only thing I would add to that is the investments that we made to the structures here were good investments. So they weren't designed solely for DMV. It actually enhanced the operation of
Well, I think when we did the enhancements, I think we actually talked about that. If the DMV program failed, we could use them otherwise to make operations here better. So.
And everything that we purchase can be reused. So there's absolutely nothing, and I heard that comment last week, that we invested things. There's absolutely nothing that we purchased that cannot be reused. And the way how we redesign the entrance way, it only helps the flow of traffic in the town hall.
Okay.
I do have a comment. If I may.
Latecomer, please.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'd like to hear from the staff again about this. I think in reading the report, the idea was, unless we made a change in staffing, the recommendation was not to renew the contract. Is that correct? Yeah, okay. Well, I look at this as an investment opportunity, and when we invest, we typically go with a basket of investments to diversify. And, it was an effort, and I think it was a very good effort. But we're not precluding this from the future either. Conditions change. There are other opportunities. We learned a lot of things about how the operation works here in Town Hall. And I think that was an important lesson. So, but I'll say it's not 11 years. Well, it could be 11 years, all things being equal, and no changes to the month of May, just projecting out. But, the fact that we can repurpose that, 3 years is a long time. To your point, businesses, typically they don't make money from the get-go, but I voted for this as a pilot. That's where I was coming from. I had my reservations about it, and I think we made a good effort, and perhaps we can revisit it in the future. That's my comment.
Okay. I guess a parliamentary point of information. Can we move this as a directive, or do we got to take a vote on not renewing the contract?
It does sound like you should take a vote on that. Somebody should make a motion either to approve the renewal of the contract or to not renew the contract, and then vote on that. That's my recommendation.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we not renew the contract for the DMV Select Office.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and second. Last chance for discussion. We'll put it up for vote.
Weir,
Aye.
Passanello,
Yes.
Pater,
No.
Schneider,
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all for that tough decision, and we'll move on then to the ordinance for a meeting time change. Any discussion, or does anybody want to make a motion?
I do have a discussion, but I don't know if we should have the motion first.
Yeah, make the motion.
Go ahead.
I'm not making the motion.
Do you have a resolution number on this, or an ordinance number on it?
It should be in here.
So I move adoption of ordinance 2022/002.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and second. Open for discussion.
Thank you, sir. Couple questions, mostly just observations. Section 2.6, organizational meeting. First meeting in July, should that be changed?
That's by charter, correct?
That's by charter.
It's worse than that. It's still in the general law that your organizational meetings are in July. I think that doesn't make a lick of sense. And if you want to change that to January, I don't think anybody's going to complain. But it is, that is what the state statute currently says.
So, Mr. Mayor, for consistency, could we have unanimously, if the rest of council agreed to change that to January? 2.8, organizational meeting? Because then 2.6.
Page 54. So does that mean we have to change the resolution?
No, no, it's,
Just amend the rules. Correct?
Pardon?
You want us to amend the rules and
Amend
change
the-
the date
correct,
from July to January?
yes. You have before you the ordinance. The resolution would presumably be a separate motion since it wasn't part of this motion.
Right.
The resolution to,
Adopt amended rules of procedure. It starts on page 51 of the packet.
I thought I just did that, but did I not?
Moved approval of the ordinance.
Okay, so we also have to do the rules of procedure separately?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Are we good, Mr. Mayor? Can I continue?
Yeah, continue.
Thank you. Section 4 of the agenda, I just want this point to be on record, that any member of the public may request that items be placed on a meeting agenda by contacting the clerk at least 7 days prior to the council meeting. I just wanted it to be known by the public that this is, this can be entertained by the town government, that the public can actually make requests to have items put on the agenda.
Have we always had that, or is that something new?
Yes.
Well, we've always had it, I just wanted to make sure, because I didn't know that.
But it also needs to be sponsored by someone on council. Yep.
That's the
C,
catch-all.
section 4C. I think that's a very important call out, so thank you, Councilman Morris.
You just called me Chris a while ago, now you're getting formal? This is the last point, Mr. Mayor. Section 5-4, concerning conduct, and this is mostly geared at you, Mr. Mayor. Use language which insults or demeans any person or which, when directed at a public official or employee, is not related to his or her official duties. Mr. Mayor, I would just want to remind you that as the chair of this council, it is your responsibility to protect the members who are sitting on the dais. And the reason I'm saying that is because I've heard citizens come into these chambers and outrightly accuse members sitting on the dais, and I just want to remind you, it's your responsibility to correct and also enforce these rules.
Okay, I'll make note. You have a comment, Bob?
No, I'm actually addressing the mayor.
As the
I'll
resident,
make note.
as the resident bomb thrower,
So,
not just here, but in other venues. I mean, it comes with the mantle of authority that you get when you get elected.
It doesn't.
And their freedom of speech to express their views and at times their discontent. I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, if they wanna fabricate things or, call us names, so be it. I've got a real thick skin. But I think we go down a slippery slope if we try to curtail what an individual or we as a group might find unnecessarily negative or offensive. But it's part of the bargain you make to sit up here.
well,
That's just my personal feeling on it.
and you're correct, it is your personal feeling, but I'm directing it to the chair of the council. And it's in his opinion, if he thinks it's demeaning, as the word said, if it's language which insults or demeans any person, or which, when directed at a public official or employee, is not related to his or her official duties. And that's all I'm doing. I'm trying to point out that, Mr. Mayor, it is your responsibility to protect those on the dais, because during citizen time, we typically don't say anything to rebut or anything like that. But if it does become demeaning, I think it is your responsibility to protect the members on the dais.
I'll try to make note.
Mr.
To be
Crum,
more
given
active on my
Drago v. Charlottesville a couple of years ago, do we have to change that part, at least with respect to the council?
You've already got a caveat there that citizens have the right to comment on the performance, conduct, and qualifications of public figures.
Okay.
So I think that covers us legally.
I'd like to make a comment on that comment. I'm not sure I recognize, I mean, I wish you would give me some examples, because I can't, at this moment, I can't recall recently any kind of negative comment. Perhaps one of the things we should be doing is making sure people understand the policy for public speaking and citizens' time. There is a policy that we have available. Maybe we need to make sure that they have copies of that, if that may, in fact, curtail some of your concerns. But, I mean, I do not recall recently anything like that. Can you give me some examples? I can't remember.
I know that Councilman Weir and Schneider have been publicly attacked when I felt the mayor should have stopped it. But that.
Is this during citizens' time?
Yes, sir.
Or was it?
Yes, citizens' time.
Okay.
And the reason I'm bringing it up is as I read through this, I just saw points where we can be better. And collectively, if we're on the same page, especially with the chair, being able to control individuals and how they may demean individuals on the dais, it is his responsibility to do so. And none of the times did the members that I've heard being demeaned say anything in response.
Well, part of our responsibility at citizens' time is to listen. That's why we're here. And I think I remember back in 2014, we explicitly reviewed and renewed the policy for citizens' time so that people fully understood what was the expectation from the public at large, but that we were going to be open to listening, and we weren't going to get into a debate during that, because that's their time to speak. We listen. We consider it. And if we want to address it, we could always address it as part of another item on the agenda, or perhaps at council member time. But I think that's an individual thing, right? If somebody has a problem with what's being said about them, they can say what they have to say.
You release the floor, you done?
Well, I'm still
You're still,
not sure, because I'm trying to recall some of the things that were said. Were they obscenities? Were
No.
they demeaning? In what way? I'm not really sure. Can any of you guys recall? Well, forget.
Oh, I can remember a few.
Oh, okay, all right.
What really comes to mind is that comments that were unrelated to the topics that were
Well,
in
that's
front of the
different,
board.
right.
That's where I understood this debate, is if
Some
someone's.
of the topics, the citizens can speak on any topic. And it's not for us, and you're correct, it's not for us to defend it or speak about it, but that's why I'm not even addressing the council, I'm addressing the mayor, the chair, because he has the floor.
and you had some comments, Martin?
Yes, sir. As Councilman Weir noted, there is a good bit of case law on this now, and it is a very touchy subject where the courts are very jealous in preserving the right of the public to free speech and to petition the government for redress of grievances. So I would just urge the mayor or anyone who's chairing any meeting here to be very careful in redirecting a citizen who seems to have gone off the rails, to make sure that we're understanding each other, and redirecting, I mean, to bring them back to talking about the policy issue at hand rather than about personalities. I think that's the appropriate thing to do, is first to redirect someone, and then if that doesn't work and they're disrupting the meeting, then that's a situation where in my career doing this for 30 years, I've only seen one person have to be escorted from a meeting, but it does happen.
Oh, thank you. I think it's pretty neat that the VML or ELI, I'm sorry, so many acronyms. The ELI just hosted 2 webinars about this subject in particular, and I do agree with Councilman Morris, where it is the chair's responsibility to encourage our participants and citizens to stay within respectful manners. But yes, free speech, absolutely agree. I just think that when we're here to do business, we could do so politely. So I appreciate the call out. I think that's important. And if you guys are interested, because they did talk about case law and certain things that are within our rights to manage meetings and things. And I wouldn't say necessarily inappropriate behavior, but a behavior that's contradictory to productive work. You could probably reach out to the ELI or RELI. What's it? RELI.
And maybe in some ways tie into what Joe was suggesting too with the, what was it, Joe?
The policy, education.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's educational for us, so touch base with those who can provide us the webinar. I don't know if they record it, but maybe they have a recording that people could watch. It was an interesting panel, and they talked about the different municipalities and how they approach it and all sorts of things like that. So, and then I agree that, awareness and education is really important. So we'll do our part, they do theirs, and, you know, if they are upset about a topic, they're totally entitled to feel that way, but they do not have a right to attack me as a human being. That's not why I took this position, and that's not gonna, in my opinion, be acceptable.
Yeah, was that a seminar, or was that part of the peer lectures that are happening right now? I missed last Friday's because I had conflict, but.
So it was was it last Friday? I believe so, it was. It was not one of those like the peer-to-peer luncheons. No, it was last month. And instead it was like a webinar where they had like panelists discussing this and a lawyer or an attorney there. And yeah, so it was very educational. So if you guys are interested, I would definitely reach out to them and see if you could at least see the recording.
Have Emily before you, okay?
I didn't want to derail the conversation, but I do have a question. Jumping back to the organizational meeting item that was brought up, how, if at all, will this affect our planning commission and ARB appointments of chairs and their organizational meetings in July?
We're going to probably have to address that. We're going to have to bring that back because it's not on the agenda tonight anyway, so
Okay.
let's,
Flag it and bring it back.
without objection, can we handle this at the next meeting or at the next work session, a discussion of both the rules procedure in its entirety and the impact on the other boards?
Yeah, we can table that, but we definitely need to,
But the other motion
Hit the
still
other
stands,
motion,
which
yeah.
is still on the floor.
yeah.
The only thing I would say is this, I'm not going to belabor the point. Having sat on both sides of the dais and both thrown and received bombs, and a lot of them, going down the road that some of you guys want to go down is quite frankly, a very slippery slope, especially in this state, especially in the way our society is right now, and especially with the litigious nature of our society at this point in time. The only thing I can say is, buckle up and take it. And if there's something that is egregious, use your opportunity to address it. If it's of a personal nature or something like that, and you want to take a point of privilege, I'm never going to stop you on that. If you want to address it later in the meeting when the topic of discussion comes up or at citizens' time, fine. But in impinging on the opportunity for the public to say almost anything they want, and I think it's pretty much open-ended in recent years as to just how far they can go, and making personal attacks on elected officials is nothing uncommon these days in almost any jurisdiction, and it's not uncommon at any level, whether it's at the General Assembly level, county level, school board level, or even town council. So I'm not going to extend any more time on it.
Joe, you're anxious, so you're next.
The lack of civility, though, and proper decorum is very problematic. I think we all recognize that.
Yep.
Can I finish?
Sorry.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, Bob. I tell people, stand in line. That's my response typically. But, people need to be treated fairly and honestly. And being disruptive, I remember a meeting that we had early in our term being quite disruptive. And frankly, I thought we should have shut them down. But we gave them the opportunity to speak their minds, and they were proved wrong. Because we reconstituted what needed to be reconstituted in this town, and that was the police department. Thank you very much, Chief. Great job. So I think it's an issue of civility and decorum and education, and we need to do a little bit better job maybe ourselves. But I'm not gonna cite you for that. But I think you've been duly noted as our leader.
Yep. What I'd like to do, if you guys don't mind, is end up spending a little money on it, in the sense of, if I could kind of throw over to Martin, if he could put together some type of quick sentence note that we can add to when we have citizens' time. I can say, keep in mind, something that doesn't get me into trouble with any type of freedom of speech rights or anything
Read
like
number
that.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I may, we already have a policy in place that we reauthorized, I believe, at the beginning of our term. Perhaps that needs to be
Something's in
reviewed
there?
for consistency. Yeah, we already have it. It's in place. Right, Emily?
Because if we're not going to do anything about it, why, we should just strike out 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah. But, yeah, something, and we'll just put it in citizens' time, a little note under that, and I'll read it every time we open up citizens' time. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we got the motion still on the floor.
What was the motion again?
To change the meeting time.
Motion is to adopt ordinance 2022-002. And it's to change the meeting time
I-
from 6 o'clock, from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock to close sessions as needed.
Okay, and I do have a comment related to that. So that means everybody's here in seat 6 o'clock, because we have to open the meeting at 6?
Yes, sir.
As needed.
So if we don't have closed session, then we start at 7.
7, yes, sir.
Correct. And some closed sessions
for
may end
everybody
up
out
being 6:30, depending on, but we will be notified, and the notice will be put out a week in advance, or close as we can to a week in advance. Is that correct?
Okay?
We just want to make sure that we open it up, so we do give us a full hour if closed session is that busy.
Right.
You'll have to talk fast.
I can do that. Okay. We all set then, guys? Put it up for vote?
Weir.
Aye.
Casanello.
Yes?
Vader.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll move on to council member time. Vice Mayor, we'll start you off this time.
Thank you. I would like to make note that it is National Pride Month. We're supporting love and acceptance as well as equality. Thank you so much for everybody who participates every week at the farmers market. It's a huge success and it's just so much fun. We've actually implemented shopping for our Sunday dinner, and that's fun. So the community garden opened, which is wonderful. Please visit. And our Flags for Heroes event is this Saturday. The walk's at 6, flags and ceremony at 7.
Is it here?
It's at the park. At the park. And also a special thank you to Sarah from Boxes to Basics. Such a good cause. Thank you for being here.
Okay, moving on to Councilman Morris.
Thank you, sir. Just to reiterate, the Flags for Heroes this Saturday, and also election registration closes soon, I suppose,
June 21st.
June 21st.
Glad you guys know.
So just a public notice that if there's anyone who's interested in running for public office, June 21st is the deadline. And it can be done online?
No.
No.
No, you have to drop your
You got it.
No,
application.
requires a.
You have to drop it off? Yeah,
Requires a
you
hard
can't tell who didn't
signature,
drop
yeah.
it off.
Election integrity.
So you can drop it off at the courthouse?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, any more information, just call the local office here and our town manager or clerk.
You have to be alive to run.
Okay. You can't vote twice. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councilwoman Ramirez.
Thank you, Tracy Lynn. You hit all of the points that I had written down. I also want to recognize Pride Month and just say, reiterate, love is love. And also wanted to talk about the farmers market. I really want to call out Erin. I missed last meeting where I could have the opportunity to say this. I witnessed her helping out our vendors. They were short-staffed, and she just jumped right in and offered help on all sorts of things. And, she's a real asset to our town. This farmers market is growing and successful because of all the work that she puts in. all the support she gives to the vendors, and this is such a beautiful thing for our community. So I just want to thank council for supporting that, and I want to thank our staff for working with Erin and giving her the full support too, because this is a huge group effort, and it's not just her, but I know that a lot of work goes in, and I'm really happy about it. I also want to say the community garden event was super cool. Thank you, Tracy Lynn, for being the face, because I was there as a hot mess mom, and it was very warm that day, and I really loved the owl, Mr. Finney. He was so cute, so fun. So if anybody in the community is interested, please go and visit our community garden. It is open to everyone, and when everything is growing and producing, you know, fruits and vegetables, please help yourselves. Just share what you take in the sense of weight, so that way we know how productive it is. But other than that, that's all we need to know. And I'm really looking forward to this being an opportunity for families to learn and grow and have sustainable food sources. And then lastly, thank you to Sarah for Boxes of Basics. I teared up several times hearing the stories of the lives that she's touched through her organization, and it's just awesome that we have these nonprofits in our community, and I'm so glad that we took the time to put them out on our meetings and let them present and share with us, because they are really great missions. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Councilman Marchand Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Ken Mayor. We already talked about water balloon fight. Please come out early, come out and fill up balloons early. But just to be clear, if you're anywhere within range, you're a free game. And Mr. Morris may have...
Shut the windows on the cruiser, because it ain't gonna work.
Pretty good change clothes. No, Chief, it's a wonderful opportunity. It's great when these little kids, I can really get a police officer. So it's a great community engagement. So look forward to everyone. So, and that reminds me, school's out for summer. We'll have more little people around town during the day. Certainly, everyone keep their eyes out. With the sidewalks going in soon, that'll be great timing for when kids I see walking around town more on Monday. So that'll be great. Recruitment. So there was an idea about putting up a town tent at the farmers market to help recruit all positions. And as someone who sort of brought it up, I will not be here for the next 7 Sundays.
Stunning.
But
Stunning.
that was not by design, but it would be, I think, very beneficial if there's an ability to rotate through a tent have the town of Haymarket tent, and have some folks be able to just have questions about general town stuff, talk about the council council election, talk about the various boards, just getting some face time. So I will talk to Emily more about that. And if there's some availability, I would try to figure out a way to support it, even though I will not be here to support it. So, good idea. The idea person. So lastly, the park. We talked about the park. Appreciate the discussions over putting resources into that. I do see it as now an underperforming asset. I know we're doing the building audits, but would really like for us to spend more time looking at how to improve it. People are up there all the time. As soon as the shade went up today, people were underneath it and the parking lot was crowded. So the restrooms are a great addition, but if we can look into prioritizing with the adopted CIP ways we can try to put some, in addition to the sidewalk, getting some investment in the buildings so that perhaps we can get a meeting space. With these new communities coming online, we get comments and questions about folks that need a place to meet. So if we are able to focus some priority on that, I would think that would be a good effort, especially between now and sort of the end of the year. So those are my thoughts. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Schneider. Councilman Passanello.
I think we should have the tent out on Saturday, so Marchand will be here.
Stratton, West
But I-
Chairman, damn glad to meet you.
I actually think it's a great idea, and maybe we can even do voter registration as well. Put some stuff out there. So I'll be available. Chief, if I may, the bike rodeo, can we put together some flyers?
Yes, sir, we're working on it right now.
Okay,
Trying to nail down a few more things with the church.
Okay, great. Once you have those, I know every community, an HOA in town, and non-HOA, there's a lot of new kids in town, so try to drum up some interest in that. That would be very helpful. So 78 years ago was D-Day, and I was very happy to hear the invocation speak about that. I told you all that I had an opportunity to go there back in the fall, and it was very moving. And you know, it's one of those things that we don't really think about a lot. You know, everybody remembers 9/11, everybody remembers Pearl Harbor. D-Day was a very seminal moment. It was an inflection point in history. And I think I'm very proud that my dad served in World War II and is still alive at 97 years old. But we're losing those guys very quickly. So it's really important that we remember that and honor them. So that's my only comment tonight. Thank you.
And Councilman Weir?
I'm going to be a little more serious tonight. You know, as one with a degree in history, I can affirm that June 6th is one of those days that you just don't forget and shouldn't make any attempt to erase or cancel. And it's a little more personal to me as the story goes. You know, but for the grace of God and a razor-born staph infection, my father would have gone ashore with the Bedford boys. Oh. And if anybody knows what the casualty rate of that division of the Bedford boys was,
Very high.
it's very unlikely he would have met my mother 20 years later or 15 years later. The interesting side note to that is, since he got sent back to England and they couldn't participate because of the staph infection, they cut them new orders, shipped him back across the Atlantic, shipped him all the way across the U.S. and gave him orders to go ashore at Okinawa. Not a whole lot better, but, you know. Just the one thing that I think, the one lesson we learn, or which we should always learn, is that history repeats itself. And if we don't remember our history, we're doomed to repeat it. And if we don't learn from it, we're doomed to repeat it. Thank you.
Can I just add something to that for Bob's benefit as well as everybody else? When I was there, it was really interesting, Bob, that we were driving down to Omaha Beach in the bus, and there was a street that the French named Rue de la Bedford, or after the Bedford boys. I never knew that, but I found that really moving, as well as the ceremony on the beach. So let you find that interesting.
Yeah, it's a little touchy subject because of some first marriages and stuff and ties to Bedford, but oh well.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Now it's my turn.
All of that.
Kind of tough. But this weekend is my walk, right? Just to make sure that I understand that. I'd like to do that, and I'd like to make comment on the agenda that the chief has in his report for the police activity. Do we have something like this publicized on our web page so that people know about it and can participate if they want?
We do social media postings shortly before the event, but usually not long-term things, except
Okay.
like in the case of the blood drive, which, you know, requires a sign-up rather than just a show up.
Yep, yeah, I just want to make sure that we do get word out until we get a fully blown communications plan that allows us to throw these out on a regular basis. As long as we're getting word out, I'm happy with it. Really, that's all I have. So, next item. Got the closed session.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council convene in a closed session to discuss the following. As permitted by Virginia Code Section 2.23711A1, a personnel matter involving assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of the town, specifically dealing with the town manager. And as permitted by Virginia Code Section 2.23711A7, consultation with legal counsel or briefing by staff members or consultants pertaining to probable litigation involving 14600 Washington Street and the pending case of Town of Haymarket versus Bean, where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the town, and as permitted by Virginia Code Section 2.23711A8, consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel relating to local taxes and town contracts.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Do I got a, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll go into closed session after a small. Let's bring us into open meeting. Oh, okay. Let's bring in, hold on, let's bring us into open meeting. Let's go through an attestation.
Mr. Mayor, I move the council certify that in the closed session just concluded, nothing was discussed except the matter or matters specifically identified in the motion to convene in closed session and lawfully permitted to be discussed in closed session under the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act as cited in that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and second. No dis-
Aye.
Passanello.
Aye.
Pater.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Okay, any motions coming out of that meeting?
Directive.
Just a directive?
What was the directive?
The director mayor.
Point
To
to
make
the
the offer.
mayor.
Without objection, I would direct the mayor offer Emily Curazi the position of town manager and zoning administrator.
Second.
Not without
No,
without
any
objection.
Without
Objections?
objection. Nope.
Nope. Okay, that's good. Next agenda item.
Move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam.